Hello everybody, Razorblade Mango here, and welcome to another episode of Popcorn Mango. I have no idea which episode of Popcorn Mango this is, but it's been the first one since I think November, because in all honesty, I haven't really gone to the movies all that much. I think the last time I even ever did two movies in a single weekend, it's been years since I've done that. Probably. I struggle to recall the last time I went to go see two new releases in a single weekend. I don't know if things just happened where I wanted to go see Lego Batman movie and then I went with a friend to go see John Wick 2. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do a Popcorn Mango. Let's talk about Lego Batman and John Wick 2. Starting with Lego Batman, because out of the two, I think Lego Batman is the inferior movie. And not that that makes it bad by any stretch of the imagination, and quite the opposite. It's a good movie. It's a fun, solid, animated, family-friendly film. And I needed that, because I was having a really strenuous day on Saturday at work, and I decided, you know what? I want to go see this. I don't care if anyone can't go with me. I'm going to go see it because I need a good laugh. And that's exactly what it provided. And also, to be clear as well, this is not the Lego movie. I think the Lego movie, even though my opinion of it has calmed down since I made my video of it years ago, I still think it's a masterpiece. I think it's one of the biggest surprises of this decade, or possibly of all time. And what Phil Lord and Chris Miller did with that script went so far beyond the Call of Duty that it's like they just put everyone else to shame, where they easily could have made this really crappy cash grab of a movie. They turned it into this really incredible satire of the dangers of conformity and pop culture, and they made it with so much depth and complexity and humor and soul that I was blown away when I saw it. And unfortunately, I don't think Lego Batman movie reaches those heights. I think at times it tries to, because it actually does provide a surprisingly deep examination of who Batman is as a character. And I'm not just talking about this version of Batman, voiced really well by Will Arnett. I'm talking about Batman in general. And I feel like this, theme-wise, it makes a good companion piece with Batman Bad Blood, where both of them are about examining Batman and his resistance to teamwork. Where in Bad Blood, it's all about him not wanting, it's all about Dick Grayson not wanting to be Batman, and then Batman not wanting any help regarding taking down the new threat in that movie. And same thing here, where Batman is just portrayed as selfish, narcissistic, and yet very visibly alone and lonely. And it's this journey of him realizing that he needs help in his life, that he needs to be willing to open himself up in order to have a family again, because that's his biggest fear. His biggest fear is being a family, or being part of a family again, and possibly losing them. So that's why in this he shuts himself off from the world. And that's really a very accurate examination of Batman in general, where he doesn't want people close to him because he's afraid that they'll come to harm. And I think Lego Batman, better than most of the live action films, really goes to a surprising length to examine that and to really make it feel like it's a part of, they know their shit when it comes to writing Batman in this Lego movie. Again, the like the original Lego movie, they could very easily have made this just about, how, Batman, I'm goofy Batman, black, I'm gonna save the world, I'm gonna save Gotham, I'm awesome. Or they could have just copied and pasted that personality from the Lego movie into this and have it just be like an hour and 40 minutes of that, which I think would have been fine. It probably would have gotten old really fast, but might have been okay. But they do take surprising turns with this, where they actually do feel like a sense of they actually really want to explore who Batman is, and that's great. I love it when movies do that because we've seen Batman so many times, and as a big fan of the property, it's like I don't want to see anything. I really don't care about anything Batman related anymore, unless you're really bringing your A game with this, where I want to see like something new or surprising, and I think this falls into the surprising camp. But I think they could have gone a lot further with it too, because when it still feels like it's afraid to go into that line, that territory of like really, really dark, a dangerous examination. But because it's a family Lego movie, they kind of have to toe that line, and they don't quite go into it. They just go on the very borderline of it, and still that borderline is good and interesting, but they don't push themselves further. They're very content with just staying on that line without really taking a risk. And that's a shame, because I think there are elements of this that are really interesting and really compelling for a Batman film thematically. And I think even with the humor as well, I think not having this not be written by Phil Lord and Chris Miller really shows, because it tries to adapt that same manic personality that the first Lego movie had, but does it in a way that's nowhere near as consistent, or at least subjectively, in my opinion, funny as the Lego movie. And I'm seeing this movie get like 9s out of 10s and 10s out of 10s, and people are like loving it, and that's great. I'm glad that it's doing well, because it is a good film, and I think people should see Lego Batman. I just don't think it's on the same level as the Lego movie, which it's obviously taking some influence from like tone, humor, even plot structure, almost to a degree. Like they visit like a nether world, and then he has to come back and fight his way and stuff like that, prove himself, just like Emmett in the Lego movie. So there are, plot and thematic similarities between the two. And like I said, it just doesn't work as well for me. One, I think it's too long. I think it's maybe like 10-15 minutes too long, and it could have done with some, removal of the jokes that go on for just a little bit too long. But besides all that, I think it's a good film. I think it is very much a solid Lego movie that happens to be a really solid Batman film as well, which is surprising after, I saw the trailers and I just thought we were just going to have another Lego Batman movie, but yeah, this thing actually, I feel like it wants to break free and explore this stuff, but it's held back by a Lego property. I think this would have been better taking this, I don't know how they would have done this. I think it's fine the format that it's in. It just needed better writing. It just needed a braver captain at the helm. And I don't think whoever directed this or wrote it was not brave enough, like Phil Lord or Chris Miller, to really take it to that next level. They're close, but not quite. And it's still good regardless. I still liked it quite a bit. I guess the question in the end, would I recommend Lego Batman movie? Yeah, hell yeah, I would. If you are in the mood for just light, goofy comedy, then this is definitely should be your bag. And for any Batman fan out there that wants to see this like really overly affectionate, a tribute to Batman, I can't think of a single Batman fan who wouldn't be overjoyed by the amount of Easter eggs and nods that they include in this thing and cameos that they have. It's really, if you are very knowledgeable of Batman, like the different versions of Batman and the extensive mythology, then I think you will get like a real kick out of this. So yeah, Lego Batman movie. I don't really liked it, but I liked it quite a bit. It was pretty damn good. And the other movie I saw this weekend was John Wick 2, which, to be perfectly honest, I had been avoiding watching the first John Wick for years now. Like, everyone's been telling me, oh, you gotta see John Wick. Oh, you gotta watch John Wick. John Wick is so cool. And I had no desire to, just because I don't like seeing dogs get killed in movies. Don't judge. And I was just kind of like, yeah, no thanks, not for me. I really don't want to see it. But when I went to go see Triple X, and they played the trailer for John Wick 2, the one that's I think it's like the John Wick Goes Off trailer. I think that's what Paramount or whoever distributed this like officially called it. And I was so impressed. Like, I was like, holy shit, this looks awesome. Like, I really want to see this. So I guess I'm finally gonna have to suck it up and watch the first John Wick. And I did. I like John Wick. I think John Wick is a good movie. Good action, beautiful scenery, pretty good camera work with the fight choreography and stuff like that. Very colorful. Not like amazing, like I've heard so many people say, but a solid, fun action movie. But Chapter 2 fucking takes that shit to the extreme, where, okay, one of my biggest problems with the original John Wick is that I feel like while it is, a very stylish, crazy action movie, I still felt like it was restrained by the conventions of reality in a sense. And I know, like, in the movie, it's like a heightened, stylized version of this assassin underworld that still is like rooted in reality. Like, people liked it that he reloads in the movie, that he actually gets hurt, and then like people get killed, and it's brutal and painful, yet somewhat realistic, I guess. And I was not too keen on that. I don't think it made for a better movie. Like, I wish they had just taken the restraints off and just have it be like this all out, balls to the wall, crazy action movie. And that's what Chapter 2 is. Chapter 2 is like so insane. Like, they were just like, fuck it. The collar is off. Go for it. Like, they don't give a fuck about, any semblance of like realism or anything anymore. I mean, yeah, he still reloads, he still gets hurt, but the amount of like really over the top stylization and scenery and like these like cavalcade of villains and assassins that come in, where like it's like this overly elaborate honor-bound society that these assassins are a part of, where like everybody in New York apparently becomes an assassin now. The street musicians are assassins, the hobos are assassins, that guy at the ticket booth at the subway station is a fucking assassin. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. It's fucking insane. And that's what I loved about it. That's what I was like, this is what I want. This is what I wanted from the first John Wick. And here in Chapter 2, they are like living up to all my expectations as to like what this is going to be. And I'm jealous. I'm jealous because this is a movie that if I ever had any like aspirations to be a filmmaker, or really ever any talent to do it, which, let's face it, I'm not probably wouldn't be a very talented filmmaker. This is the kind of action movie I would want to make. Like, something that's like incredible action, really bloody, gory killing, this like really interesting group of villains that come after John Wick, It's got beautiful cinematography, absolutely just gorgeous. Like even like compared to the first movie, which like imagine that scene in the Red Circle Club where it's like beautiful like neon colors and very sharp contrasting bright lighting. This is what it is. Like the whole movie is this, where it's just loads of color, loads of beautiful use of shadow and lighting. It's stunning. It is a stunning bit of work. Like I was watching this, not only just enjoying the action, but just how it looked compared to everything else. And it was just fucking gorgeous. Great music. Not so much like the original score, but like all the sounds, the songs that they pick are great. Work well with the action. Work well with the scenes. It's hilarious too. That's what I love about this. It is fucking hilarious. Like the first one, it's it's not really. There's some bits I guess you could call humorous. But it's still like very gritty, very dark. They killed my dog. I'm gonna go kill them all and stuff like that. And here, John Wick is just a fucking. John Wick, he makes jokes sometimes. He there's like very not subtle, but jokes built into the action. Like there's a part where him and Common are fighting in the subway train, and they just pull out knives and start like taking stabs at each other. And there's people in the background watching, just like they don't have any kind of reaction. They're just like, well, they're fighting. Nothing we can do about it. And they just sit there and watch these two grown men just pull out knives and start fighting with no reaction whatsoever. It's fucking insane. This whole movie is insane. It's like someone put a brick on a gas pedal and just fucking let it go. That's what this movie is, and that's what I like so much about it. Also, Keanu Reeves is good in this, and I'm not even like a big Keanu Reeves fan. Like I thought he was, serviceable in the first John Wick, but here I think he really brings that silent rage that I want to see from an action star like this. Like I want him to not like be this like goofy Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of hero, but he's a guy that like he just does not give a fuck. Like he just comes in, kills everyone, never compromises, never surrenders, near silent angel of death. I fucking love it. It's wow, it's so good. And it's bloody. Like I mentioned before that it's really bloody, but there's just something about the way the violence works in the first film. And I'm sorry, I keep going back to the first film for like compare and contrast, but that's what I'm gonna do. The first film, as it's bloody, it's violent. People die horribly in that movie, but I still, for me, like the violence never really felt weighty, especially when he's just doing like headshot, grapple, headshot, and it's kind of this like it's similar formula kind of in chapter 2. But there are some gruesome fucking kills in this. Like, there's a part where a guy gets, like, he's, like, fighting John Wick, and John Wick just, like, lifts his leg off and, like, slashes him in the balls, and, like, you see it pretty up close. There's a part where someone's, like, wrist gets slit, and it's like, oh my god, it just made my stomach churn watching it. There's a part where a guy gets like stabbed like 5 times in the stomach and shot in the head, and he's still not dead, and it's like this bloody mess. Really great blood too. Even like if it's CGI, I couldn't tell. Like there's a part where like John will shoot people in the head, and like the blood will smear on the wall. Like pools of blood will pour off between people that have been shot in the stomach or in the head. Like if that's CGI, that's fucking impressive CGI blood. Because I couldn't tell the difference. Like, so many movies now have CGI blood in it where, like, you shoot somebody in the head and, like, this little mist of blood comes out. No, like, when you shoot somebody in the head in John Wick 2, viscera just flies out and onto the wall or onto the floor or onto John Wick. It's gory. And there's a particular really fucked up callback to the first movie that I'm not going to spoil it. If you've seen the first John Wick, you know what I mean regarding those 2 kills. But that just made me wince like nothing I've ever seen in a while. And the camera work too. Like I'm gonna wrap this up shortly, but the camera work is so impressive in this. I was actually sitting back and counting the amount of times that they cut in this. And the cutting is very infrequent. Like, it's so many action movies nowadays cut on like every single hit because they have to edit their way around the fact that these actors can't fight. But in this movie, where you have Keanu Reeves, you got Common, you got Ruby Rose in it, another good performance from her this year after Triple X. Bunch of other people that, like, I know can't fight. Like, I know Common's not a well-known martial artist. Keanu Reeves might have like some training from the first Matrix. Ruby Rose, I know, is like a model, a DJ coming in to do this stunt work, and the camera doesn't edit around them. The camera just kind of, either is like a long shot or a mid shot, wide, everything clear, and you can definitely see like these actors just throwing punches, getting kicked, getting punched, getting stabbed, getting shot at, and all of it's very clear from a geometric standpoint, where you can it's very visible where everybody is, what everybody is doing, who's getting hurt, who's getting killed. And that, to me, is just so refreshing. After years and years and years of this really crappy editing with action movies, where I go to these movies to enjoy the action. It's like, let me see the action. And I feel like that's what this movie does extraordinarily well compared to a lot of other action movies, where I'm able to just see the action. It's wonderfully choreographed. It's stylish as hell to look at. Beautiful colors, lots of blood, and I loved it. If I had any major complaints about John Wick 2, like someone asked me why it's not like my favorite movie of the year so far, which it's not yet. I've seen one other movie that I think is the king daddy of 2017 so far, but it's because I feel like it's like Lego Batman. It's a little too long. It's like 2 hours and I think it's like 2 hours and 15 minutes or something like that. And I feel like maybe 10-15 minutes could have been shaved off. The ending could have been a little shorter. I think the fights with some of the major villains could have been better and a little bit longer. Their deaths could have been better. It's it's like little things here and there that I'm kind of like, okay, this could have been taken out, this could have been trimmed down, this could have been better. And that, to me, like, overall in my head, that's kind of like what pushes it out of being my favorite thing of the year. But regardless, I fucking love this movie. Like, I was so surprised that it wowed me as much as it did. And you're going to get a lot of articles that come in and say, oh, well, this movie is just style over substance. And I've seen a lot of articles about this where it's like style over substance and this promotes gun violence and it's horrible. And I'm kind of like, y'all realize the style is the substance, right? You guys realize that, all this work put into, making it look beautiful, and this world that they've created, this like a really fascinating honor-bound society that they put together with the John Wick lore, that is the substance. So, yeah, can't please everybody, but for me, I thought it was pretty damn great. Would I recommend John Wick Chapter 2? If you're somebody that likes action movies, can handle really violent stuff, then fuck yeah. This is a great friend movie. Like, take your friends to go see it that love action movies. Sit down, have a big thing of popcorn, and just relax. Just have fun. It's a stylistic, like, really relentless action thriller, and I put the emphasis on relentless because it is. And that's what makes it so great. Like, it never surrenders, never compromises, exactly like its protagonist. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you like what you see, subscribe. Let me know what you think of these movies. And that being said, have a good one, guys. Take care.